Hi, this is Michael Buckoff from BetterTOEFLScores.com, and today I want to talk about the TOEFL Integrated Speaking Task 6. This is probably, for many students, one of the most difficult speaking tasks you can do. And in my class, I gave them a speaking test, and they listened to a lecture from a professor who discussed the formation of glaciers. The professor talked about 4 different steps in terms of how glaciers are formed. First, there has to be a lot of snow accumulation. Second, the pressure on the snow underneath causes a change to small ice crystals. Then the pressure causes these small ice crystals to become larger ice crystals, and as the ice crystals become larger, they actually begin to move downhill, and once the mass of ice begins to move, it is referred to as a glacier. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, now Michael, what about my pronunciation? What about my grammar, my vocabulary, all of that? What do I need to worry about when I'm doing the speaking task number 6? My advice to you and my advice to my students is this. Worry about what you can control immediately as you begin speaking. You can't really control how clear your pronunciation is, although you want to be as clear as possible. You can't really control whether your grammar is perfect or not. But the one thing, and the thing that you need to really control in order to get a high score, is remember the facts. You need to get the facts. Now, in order to get the facts from a lecture, because speakers are speaking pretty quickly, you want to make sure you have developed an effective note-taking system. You need to abbreviate words and sentences. You might even consider using mathematical symbols to help express connections among ideas. These things are all important in helping you be a better note-taker. Now, my students, out of the 9 test takers, the highest score was a 3.5 out of 4, and the lowest score was a 1 out of, a 1 out of 4. So you can imagine the highest student got 29 points out of 30 on the practice test. The lowest student got less than 10. So what's the difference? The student who scored higher actually remembered all 4 points. Now, when I explained these important points from the lecture, I explained them in point-by-point fashion, first, second, third, fourth. Now, the professor didn't actually do that. The professor said, okay, I want to talk about how glaciers are formed. Then the professor goes, considerable snow accumulates, and then this and this and this. So you need to be able to concentrate with the speaking task 6 with the listening. Try to identify what I call steps in a process. This is a pretty popular type of lecture that you'll listen to during the speaking. So the professor maybe will give you some steps in the process of something, and you need to write down what those steps are. Now, as you're actually speaking this speaking task, you want to make sure you explain the steps in a logical sequence. First of all, what would most likely happen first? What would most likely happen last? Now, not all my students did this. Some of them got mixed up on the order, so they got a lower score. Other students, they missed 1 or 2 important points from the lecture, therefore they got a lower score. So to improve your speaking integrated task 6 score, make sure you get the facts down, make sure you explain them in a logical order. Try as much as possible to have good pronunciation and grammar. However, that's not your biggest worry. The biggest worry here is making sure that you have accurate facts. Good luck.